Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Raditya Widharma, and I'm speaking here as the first speaker of the opposition team regarding this motion that this House regrets the merger and the acquisition within the tech industry. And we, as the opposition team, clearly did not support these motions at all. Before moving on into my case, I would like to state a few definitions that have been stated by the government team regarding this motion. That first, the definition of merger, it occurs when two separate entities combine forces to create a joint organization. And the second definition is of acquisition, the takeover of one entity by the other. Before moving on into my arguments regarding this motion, I would like to give some rebuttals regarding the government team's argument in this motion. Well, my first rebuttal is where the government team have stated where users, family members, friends, and etc. are forced to consent into the merged and acquired companies' terms and conditions to use their services. Well, this is simply not true, because if they didn't want at all to agree to the terms and conditions they needed to use the merged and acquired company services, they still can refuse it if they fully read it through, or maybe if they didn't want to use their service at all because it is not compatible with their conditions and terms. Well, there are still many companies that are open with different terms and conditions to use the same services. The second rebuttal is on the state where peer pressure on the users is not implying to all consumers of the merged and acquired companies' users, but rather as only a small fraction of those. While if many people have used the merged or acquired company, it has been sure a pressure to everybody to use it, but rather it is not. It is clearly not, as there are still many options to use to not use a merged or acquired company services like GoTo, for example. There are still many alternatives such as Grab or many other services that offer the same services under the same quality with different terms and conditions to agree within. And this makes the consumer are more flexible to choose and not being peer pressured to use the products or the services that are offered by the merged or acquired companies. And my last rebuttals regarding this motion on the government team is that by the merging and the acquisition of many other companies, it makes less innovation within the tech industry itself. It is simply not true, as monopoly, if you want a monopoly on market, well, you have to compete, where this is the innovation come rolling in. If a company didn't make any innovation at all in the big time window, it's actually going to kill themselves if they didn't make any innovation. This will ensure only to every tech company regarding their merging or being acquired to bring a new innovation into the market and into the hands of the consumers. Now, moving on into my arguments regarding this motion. My first argument is that the merged and acquired company actually making better companies and complement each other's services. Like the example that the government team has been giving, the GoTo has actually made a better company and trying to complement each other's services to have a better satisfaction in their consumers. If you want to buy something on Tokopedia, you can always use Gojek to deliver it to your home. They complement each other and eventually they rely on each other's consumer. This will bring positive into both consumers of the companies and actually making a better company itself by making it more innovative to other companies who want to regain their consumers. My second argument is that the merging and acquiring companies will make bigger and better playgrounds for a nation's economy and eventually making a better progression in the technology itself. A nation's economical value is often tied to big companies named after them. Let's just say again, GoTo in Indonesia actually makes better investment in Indonesia and have been a big company to be such a good in this nation. They have been providing many other companies the opportunity to go to them and actually be a better company by complementing each other's services again. This will make Indonesia even a better nation by seeing these all great companies merging into one under the name of GoTo Indonesia. And secondly, that by having these big merged company, it will eventually making a progressivism in the industry itself to compete with each other, ensuring the progression of technologies within the industry itself. Well, regarding Malles's argument is that merge and acquire company is encouraging small companies to be competing. During this modern time, actually, many people didn't want to use the big companies or merge company and acquire company services. There are these people that call the anti-streams that didn't want to use these main services. They actually encourage many smaller services and companies to make a better product, and this will lead into confidence in themselves when they are using the product in the market, comparable into those big merge and acquire companies trying to monopolize maybe, but still the merge and acquired companies are going to need some innovation to fight and battle against the small companies that have a core but small consumer base, but still a big and strong consumer base within those small. What do I mean by that is that even though it is a small consumer ground, it is still a pretty strong consumer basis. Well, that is my arguments regarding this motion. Thank you very much for